Thanks for joining today. Really appreciate you jumping in on your lunchtime for Responding Max's webinar of From Interest to Action, fixing the first 72 hours after a lead comes in. Today, we're going to be talking about something that almost every fire department, EMS agency, and law enforcement organization struggles with: not generating interest, but converting interest into actual members. Departments spend a lot of time talking about marketing, recruitment campaigns, social media, and outreach. But in many cases, the real problem is not awareness. The real problem is what happens after someone raises their hand or hits that inquiry button and that submit button and says that they're interested. So let's dig into it a little bit deeper. So let me ask you, when someone fills out a recruitment form, sends a message, or raises their hand and says that they're interested, what actually happens in that next 72 hours in your department, right? Probably not what you hope happens, not what the process looks like on paper, but what actually happens. Because the truth is this: most departments don't lose recruits because people are not interested. They lose them because the first 72 hours are handled poorly or not at all. Absolutely. So taking a look at this, right? Again, it's what happens next. That's what we have to focus on, and that's what we need to really what we're going to discuss. So here's the hard truth: most departments don't lose recruits because of marketing. They lose them because of what happens after someone expresses interest. So typically, in whatever section arena that you're in, whether you're in law enforcement, whether you're EMS, whether you're a fire department, person fills out a form, they send a message, they ask you how to join. And then one of four things normally happens, and it's on the screen, right? Either no response, a slow response, confusing instructions, or most likely, in some cases, very, very poor follow-up. None of those problems have anything to do with advertising or awareness. These are process problems. And almost all of them happen in the same window, right? The same window, the first 72 hours, right? Any first 48 fans out there, you'll appreciate the graphic on the slide. I'm a huge first 48 fan. So I love that show. So I had to incorporate it. That's just me, right? But in the first 72 hours, this window truly determines whether interest turns into action or quietly disappears. This is when they're most engaged. Your leads are going to be most engaged. And again, this is what we a lot of times miss. So many departments believe that their problem is marketing. I get that. Some think that they need more ads, more social media, more outreach, but in many cases, the department is already generating interest. Right? People are already raising their hands. They're connecting with you. They're hitting you, whether it's on social media or your actual website. They're raising their hands. They're letting you know that they want to be involved. They want a position. They want to volunteer. But what breaks down is the follow-up process. Someone submits that form, that email notification appears. Maybe it gets forwarded to someone, and then someone plans to respond later. I don't know about you, but I probably have about 50 unread emails, but right, that I know that I just haven't read. So what normally happens is days go by, we forget about it, and by the time someone from your department actually responds, that recruit has moved on. So here's the thing: when someone reaches out about joining, something important is happening, right? It's very important. They're looking for this opportunity. They're looking to be involved. They're looking to connect. Couple of things that we have to remember: their motivation is high, their curiosity is high, and they're imagining themselves in the role in your department. that moment is fragile, right? Interest fades really quickly, right? We talk about the 3-second rule. Interest fades quickly when it's not acknowledged, guided, or reinforced. And here's the killer: silence creates doubt. Doubt creates hesitation, and hesitation quietly kills your process. So if you're not going to respond, you're already killing yourself. So before we talk about the systems and the frameworks, and it helps truly to understand what a recruit is actually looking for in that moment. We forget this piece sometimes, right? When someone reaches out about joining, they don't need the brochure. They don't need the whole entire thing of all the expectations and responsibilities, and they don't need everything, right? They need 3 things. First, they need to know that their interest was received. Hey, got your interest. Appreciate your inquiry. Thank you so much for taking the time, right? Acknowledgement. Second, especially in today's world in AI, they need to know that a real person is paying attention. If it sounds like a bot, if it sounds scripted, put a little humanity in their interaction. First name, how you doing, things of that nature, right? But they definitely want to know that someone real is paying attention. And third, they need to know what happens next, right? Not the whole application process or onboarding process, but just those short things, right? And if those 3 things are missing, what normally happens with a lead is that uncertainty starts to creep in, right? They want small bites, small chunks. And uncertainty almost always leads to inaction. If I'm uncertain about something, I'm probably going to step away. Um, I may have time to research that, but most likely I don't have that time. So I'm going to move on to something else. So those 3 things are very, very key: that the interest was received, someone real is paying attention and responds, and that there's a next clear step. All right, don't forget, if you have any questions or comments, make sure that you're using that QA feature, and not the chat, but the Q&A feature. All right, so the recruitment window. All right, we got to think of it, your interest as a small window, right? At the moment someone submits a form or reaches out, that window is wide open. We're ready. Let's bring all these leads in, right? But every hour that passes without a response, I hit submit, I'm interested, now I'm waiting. And so every hour that passes without a response, that window starts to close. After a couple of days, that energy the lead felt, man, is gone. I've moved on. There's other departments, there's other organizations. In my own personal experience, when looking for someone to contract or work on my home, I may hit 3 or 4 different contractors, and the first ones that normally hit me back are the ones I'm going to reply to. I've had a gentleman who hit me back 4 or 5 days later, and I had already contracted someone, already finished the work. That came out, gave me an estimate by the time he even initially responded, right? That's why the first 72 hours are so important. It's not just about responding, it's about engaging with someone while their interest is still alive, while their interest is still up. That's what we want to make sure that we accomplish. So, response time. What should departments actually be doing in those first 72 hours? So, instead of a random follow up, we recommend 3 simple phase frameworks, right? Phase 1, immediate contact. Hey, thanks for replying. My name is Walter, a membership coordinator, or someone will be getting to you shortly. If you have any questions between now and then, man, hit me up, right? Here's my information, contact me. Phase 2, relationship building. getting to know this person. How are you? Where are you from? That's that connections, right? Trying to build that relationship, build that rapport, and build that trust. That's important. And then three is that clear next step, right? So what we're going to do after we do this, I'm going to pass you over to our membership chair. I'm going to pass you to our HR department, our recruitment lead, our chief. Those types of things is what you truly those three steps is what you really need to have. So when departments structure their follow-up around these phases, what we've noticed is that they dramatically increase their chances that the interest turns into action, that the person is going to follow through. For my folks in the volunteer sector, I hear it all the time. Uh, yeah, they reached out to us and now we can't find them, or now they won't respond. Well, is that on them or is that on you? Right. That's an internal question. That's an internal question. We do have a question I saw pop up in the chat. Um, yes. Hey, it's still a very small firehouse combination, Facebook. Okay. If someone inquires online, they simply respond and answer questions that they have then, but tell them to come by, stop by the station. About 50% ever take that next step. Wow, interesting. Very interesting. But kudos to you for contacting and reaching out and connecting with them on Facebook. That's great. If that's where they message you, that's where again you can start building that rapport and the conversation. The best thing though that you did was that you reached out, right? That you responded. And so there are a lot of folks, if you go through your Facebook social media platforms and you look at those messages off to the side, you may be surprised at how many leads you've missed within the last 72 hours. But kudos to you guys for excuse me, commenting and interacting with those folks right there on social media. That's good. I would say even then is keep that information, and when you start having more information sessions or station tours, reach back out 30 days later, 60 days later, say, hey, I remember you were interested last month. How's that going? Have you found a department? Things of that nature. Because again, there was an interest there at some point in time. All right. So this first phase happens in the first 24 hours, right? The goal is very simple. Acknowledge the person, welcome them, right? Doesn't need to be complicated. Short message, quick phone call. And in today's world, most likely you're going to send a text. I'm a prior Air Force recruiter, and these were like this was the norm. You shoot the email, you make the phone call, and then you turn around and send them the text, right? And here's the reason why. Think about this. Think about how many times you get a phone call from a number you do not know. You let it go to voicemail, you figure out who it is later, and then you'll call back. So leave the voicemail, but turn around and send the text. Hey, this is Walter Campbell from Respond to Max Fire Department. Saw your inquiry online. Just wanted to reach out. Please give me a call at your earliest convenience, because text rules the world. All right. So the key principle, though, you have to remember is speed. Fast response signals that the department is organized, that your department is responsive, and you're excited about someone who's interested in joining your team. Huge. So the second phase, shift from acknowledgement to connection. This is where we start helping people understand who the department is. We're talking about what your culture feels like, talking about what your membership feels like. Maybe you send that short message explaining what those next steps typically or usually look like. Let them know that maybe there's an information session, a tour, things of that nature. Share a quick introduction about the department. Are you a combination department? Are you law enforcement? Or what types of memberships do you offer? All right. The key idea here is something I say often. People don't join organizations; they join people. And so, if you remember that in connecting and reaching out to these folks, man, you're already in a good space. Let's move on to that third phase. So here, the goal is to move toward action. We want them to do something, right? We want them to remain in this process. This means giving that person clear next steps, right? Maybe it's to attend that information session. Again, that station visit. Maybe you guys are doing ride-alongs. I know those are coming back as well, but there needs to be something concrete. Invite them to a training event or training nights if you're a volunteer organization. If you're law enforcement, again, bring them in, show them a station tour, maybe show them in the academy, things of that nature that you want to make sure that they have something that they can hold on to, and that's going to feed their need to continue forward, right? So one of the biggest mistakes I see, departments leave recruits in a holding pattern, right? In a holding pattern. You've sent them the application via email, and now it's on them, right? It's on them. You've given them information and everything is on them, but there's no direction for them. Hey, here's the application, get it back to me, right? And so again, if you're able to provide them a little bit more detail, a little bit more insight, again, you're going to gain their trust, and you're also going to gain and keep that momentum going. All right. I love this photo, man. This is Mr. Bean. This is my guy right here, just waiting, right? Just waiting. Now this could be twofold. The photo could be twofold. The photo could be departments waiting on applications to return and getting ghosted, or it could be our applicants waiting on us, right? Depending on how you look at it. But one of the most common breakdown we see is very simple. Sometimes in a lot of processes, there's just no ownership. Nobody is clearly responsible for the recruitment leads. So when a lead comes in, it floats around. Oh yeah, I saw it. I'll get to it. Maybe you were driving. Maybe you were on a call. Maybe you're in a meeting. All of these things happen a lot. But the solution, straightforward, to the point. Every department should have one person who follows up with the process. Again, first 24 hours. Your first 24 hours. That means after your meeting, after you get to where you're at, if you're driving after the call, you still have some time to at least acknowledge. We talked about that first 24, at least acknowledge that you received the message. Hey, man, we're really, really busy today. We just had a call maybe you heard about. Again, is it okay for me to contact you tomorrow? Very, very simple. But someone has to own that process. They have to. Second breakdown, the slow response. Yep. Departments sometimes respond after several days later. And I get it. That's, again, we talked about that first, the first breakdown. There's nobody responsible. So sometimes it may take someone, hey, did you get to this? Oh no, I thought you were going to get to it. Several days have gone by. Boom. From the recruit's perspective, that delay sends a message. Right? That delay sends a message. And that message is simple. The department either isn't organized or you guys really don't need people, right? I've seen your ads. How many times have you seen ads, or maybe it's happened to you in your personal life? You've seen ads for something, you clicked on it, and then you don't get a reply. Well, then no, you must not really need me. You're just pushing ads saying that you need recruits, right? Because I'm interested, no one's contacted me. So respond quickly shows two things: professionalism and commitment. So make sure that you respond in a timely manner. All right. Third breakdown is that there's information overload, right? We're so happy that somebody wants to join our department. We're so happy that they want to connect with us that we sometimes immediately send huge packets of information, long applications, complex instructions. You have to go get a background check. You got to go get fingerprinted. You got to go get this, right? For someone who's just exploring the idea of joining, that can feel overwhelming. Try this, right? Instead, information should be delivered gradually as the person moves forward in the process. Give them the small stuff up front. Don't try and overload them and front load them. Well, if they get this done, then they must really want to join. Think about it in a different way. Got a couple other questions. Let me jump in. It says, what else can we say or do to gain more interest? I would ask them that question, like, what are you interested in doing and becoming? Are you looking to be a firefighter? Are you looking to be an EMT? Are you looking to, ask them questions, open-ended questions that are going to allow them to speak. A lot of times we just speak, right? And so, we tell them what we need. And again, we overload them with everything. A lot of times what I see is we don't truly ask that question up front of what it is they're looking for to do, because we may have that opportunity, right? And now you say, oh, I'm thinking I want to be a firefighter. I want to drive trucks. Okay, so now you understand what their goal is, and then you can discuss accordingly, right? And so to gain their interest, you have to be, in my opinion, you have to ask them, and you have to ask them what they're looking for or what are their interests. A lot of times we're like, look, I need this, and I need this. So that may be one way. Got another question real quick. It says, what if you're responding within that recruitment window, but the leads aren't following up? How often do I reach back out for a response? Great question. So one of the things I learned in Air Force recruitment is I try about 6 to 9 times. And so that 6 to 9 times are these three things: phone call, text, email, right? That's my first outreach. Second time, same thing: phone call, text, email. And I do that one more time, same thing: phone call, text, email. So that's 9 times I've tried to reach out. And so within hopefully that 72-hour period, sometimes it may be a little longer, but at least within that first 72, I've done that at least once. I've sent 3 communications within those 72 hours. But before I close out a lead, right, I'm going to try and connect with them 9 times, right? And so that's just my measurement. And then what I'll also do is 30 days later, 60 days later, I'll reach back out and say, hey, I saw you at one time you were interested. Maybe that wasn't a good time for you then. How about have things changed now? All right. So great question. Great question. All right. So let's take a look at this playbook. Got a playbook. So if we simplify this, the basic 72-hour system may look like this, right? Just kind of talked about it. Day 1, welcome message, quick phone call attempt. Day 2, follow up with that text or the email introducing the department, who you are, things that you're looking for, opportunities that you have where they might join. I may not want to be a firefighter. I may want to be fire police, right? So let them know some of those things. Day 3, maybe there's an invitation to attend the information session, a station tour, a training night, again, letting them know, hey, come get a feel for it. You can't touch anything, right? Make sure that you convey that information, but come down and see what it's about. We would love to have you. Bring your family, bring your friends, all those different types of things. And that's it, right? Those 3 simple touch points can move someone forward. Not all the time, but if you're consistent enough, most times these 3 touch points will work. So again, quick lunchtime setup, but I'll close with this thought. Departments spend a lot of time worrying about how to get people interested in serving. But many times the real challenge isn't interest, it's going to be the follow-up. Because when someone clicks that button, submits that inquiry, and says that they're interested in serving their community, they're testing something. They're testing whether they belong. The question every department should ask, really, really simple: what happens after someone raises their hand, after someone hits submit, after someone shoots you an email or text? What truly happens? Those are the things, that's the question that we can start from, and then working on fixing that 72-hour response time. If we're able to maximize responding within that 72-hour window, the likelihood of your leads moving from interest to action increases. All right, that's it. That's it. Told you real quick. Lunchtime webinar, man. So let me check and see if there's any other comments or questions going on. Nope, I think I answered everybody in the chat. Please, in the chat, also say hello. Tell us where you're from. Would love to hear where you're from. Don't forget that after the video, excuse me, we're going to send out an email that's going to have the actual recording. And if you want slides or anything like that, by all means, let us know, and we'll get that out to you shortly, within 72 hours, but way before 72 hours, way before 72 hours. But also, while you're here, man, make sure you, if you're on social media platforms, make sure you go to Responder Max on Facebook and Instagram and click like and follow us, so that we can keep you in the loop of what's going on, right? And as a matter of fact, that's important. Make sure you go on Facebook and hit like. Hey, what's going on, Nova? How you doing? Riverdale, yeah, PG, I see you. Hey, thanks for coming. Who else is out here? Teresa, hey, man. You guys are doing great work out there in Missouri. Great work out in Missouri, right? Pleasure. Hope to see you at MVFC Training Summit in Arlington this year. I love what you guys are doing out there. All right. Excuse me. But also, again, make sure you go to Responder Max Facebook, Responder Max Instagram, and follow us on that. That's it. Thank you guys so much for joining in today. We're here for you. Responder Max for all your recruiting, marketing, video, social media needs, man. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you guys so much, and take care. Until next time, man. Always recruit, retain, repeat. See you.